Bandits gunned down worshippers at mosque in Zamfara community. Pengasin threatens strike over sacking of workers by Dangote refinery. Alumni Association transforms Sheikh Abubakar Gumi local government area primary school. On the foreign scene, Interpol arrests 260 in Africa over cybercrime. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Mimana Bagodu. We begin with security matters. Now, at least 5 worshippers have been killed with bandits attacked a mosque during early morning prayers in Endoto village, Safi local government area of Zamfara state. The attack, which happened on Friday morning, sent a shockwave across the community. Witnesses said the attackers stormed the mosque and opened fire indiscriminately, killing 5 people on the spot and leaving many others with gunshot wounds. A resident who spoke under condition of anonymity said the attackers also abducted an unspecified number of worshippers before fleeing into the nearby forest. Now, describing the incident as barbaric and inhuman, the source noted that some of the injured victims are currently receiving medical treatment and are responding well. The spokesperson for the Zamfara State Police Command, DSP Yazid Abubakar, said he had not been briefed about the incident by the divisional police officer in charge of the area. The assault comes barely a week after a similar incident in Gidan Turube village, also in Safi local government area, where about 40 worshippers were reportedly abducted during dawn prayers. In a separate tragedy, over 100 illegal miners are feared dead following the collapse of a gold pit in Kadori village, Maru local government area of Zamfara state. Sources revealed that the pit crumbled on Thursday, trapping scores of miners. So far, 8 bodies have been recovered, all identified as residents of Mekwanuga village. Now, for more update on the Zamfara attack, let's join Daily Trust Regional Editor Ishuo Adamu. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Now, can you confirm the exact number of people killed and injured during the attack?
Yeah, we have confirmed the number of people that were confirmed dead in the incident, and through residents and police as well. And we have gotten so far 5 people that were killed. And the police commissioner, Ibrahim Maikaba, has given their names as Saleh Engiro, who is a 75-year-old, Mamman Yaro, 72-year-old, Malam Lawali, 67-year-old, Malam Jafaru, retired ASP, 68-year-old, and Malam Safiano, 55 years old. These are the people that were confirmed killed by the attackers. And there are others who were injured at the time, who were abducted by the bandits. And it was confirmed that only 3 people that were abducted and taken into the forest by the bandits. And they were Banyaye, Alhaji Gambo, Malam Basiru, and Ibrahim Bello. These are the 2 people that police confirmed to be abducted by the attackers. And ironically, police also confirmed that the number of the bandits that were that carried out that attack were not up to 10. About 10 of them, armed with AK-47, carried out the operation. And they also confirmed that the bandit kingpin, Beki Malam, was suspected to be responsible for this attack. And the TP in our discussion also confirmed that the bandit recently deployed the method of attacking mosques because of what happened in Malumpashi local government. He said they were doing this just to attract the attention of the public. This is what the CP confirmed to us.
So fill us in on the current security situation in Ndoto village, and have security forces been deployed to the area?
Of course, they have been deployed because even the police station that is located in the community is functioning. And because the village is a big town, and when the incident happened, the CP deployed more policemen to the area to protect the lives of people. Because the observation we made was that the bandits now have begun to instill fear in the minds of people to restrain themselves from going to the mosque. And the police on their part wanted to assure the people that they are ready to protect their lives to continue with their normal activities.
So with what you saw on ground, how are survivors and families of the victims coping? And what kind of medical or relief support is being provided to them?
Yeah, from our observation, most of the people that sustained injuries were not in a critical condition that may raise alarm at this very time. Because soon the incident happened, they were taken to hospital, and some of them were treated and discharged on the spot, while the few that have serious injuries were retained at the hospital, and they are receiving treatment and responding to the treatment.
So based on the responses you got from, the residents, what are they saying about the frequency of attacks in Safi local government area? I mean, given the recent incidents in Gidanturbe and Ndoto.
Of course, people are terrified, and their main concern now is to have peace in their localities. But the incident, the issue is that the bandits as well have their own ways of attacking communities. But from our observation, the bandits have now introduced a new method of attacking communities. Whereas if, for instance, they entered agreement with one community and the other refused to enter peace deal with them, then they will possibly attack that very community that refuses to enter agreement. Because they used to collect huge money from the communities in the name of peace deal, and they will allow them to also pay another huge money for cultivation of their farms. That payment is what makes the people to live in a relative peace in their communities. And whichever any community that refuses to pay or enter peace agreement with the bandits, it is going to be possibly attacked by the bandits.
Thank you, Adamu, for speaking with us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, hundreds of people, predominantly women and children, have fled their villages out of fear of bandits who threaten to launch deadly attacks on the communities in western Kankara. The displaced persons were seen arriving in Kankara town, the headquarters of Kankara local government area of Katsina state, on foot. Many were hanging around private and public spaces, while others continued their journey to Malumfashi town. Now, Trust TV Abdullahi Yamadi has been following the unfolding events around Kankara and Malumfashi axis and now reports.
These displaced persons arrived in Kankara weak, hungry, exhausted, and mostly sick, with many, especially children, crying for food or medical attention. Children can be heard constantly crying, while their mothers remain helpless, with nowhere to turn for support or intervention. Stories from these displaced persons are tales of sorrow and agony, as they make reference to the weak, the sick, and the elderly they left behind at the mercy of the hoodlums. The mass displacement was triggered by a serious threat issued by the bandits, who warned they would launch deadly attack on communities if military personnel continued to strike their enclaves unabated. According to reports, some heavily armed men suspected to be military personnel are carrying out offensive operations in critical areas of western Kankara along the Katsina Zamfara axis. The IDPs, appealing to the relevant authorities for intervention, are asking the military to either sustain the fight until the hoodlums terrorizing the area are defeated, or allow Kankara local authorities to negotiate a peace deal with them. I, my wife, and 6 of my children trekked for over 20 kilometers from the village to this place with this heavy load. My family and I have not eaten since yesterday. And the worst part of it all is that we have nothing and nowhere to go.
We arrived here with nothing. Our children are crying endlessly for food. Some of us are sick and exhausted, and we want peace to return to our communities. Some of my children are missing. I don't know their whereabouts. I left an elderly person at home. His fate uncertain. We are in deep trouble, finding ourselves in this horrible situation, and we are appealing for help. Despite the killings, adoptions for ransom, rustling of animals, and the intermittent mass displacement of residents, the trouble is not over. We have suffered greatly over the past 28 years from these tenants.
The affected people, mostly from Zango, Jeka Areda 1, Bakai, Erzansiya, Makera Karama, Makera Babba, Tanimawa, Gidan Kadoji, Unguwar Lawal, Yar Santar Nakandi, and Tashar Tsamia were seen arriving in Kankara town, carrying the little they could salvage from their belongings. This comes amidst growing peace negotiations between local authorities and bandits across Katsina State. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now, at least 4 miners were reportedly killed after a sand pit collapsed on them at a mining site in Dura community, just south local government area of Plateau State. According to eyewitness accounts, the incident occurred on Thursday night when the ground gave way on the 4 individuals working in the pit. Solomon Dong, an aide to Governor Caleb Mofwang on artisanal mining, confirmed the incident on Friday. A resident of the community, Chuang Dafor, who also confirmed the incident to newsmen in Jos on Friday, said the situation was tragic. Now, following Thursday's shocking incident at Kwara Dawanau quarters in Kano, where a 30-year-old man allegedly stabbed his grandparents to death during a quarrel over food. More details have continued to emerge about the tragedy that has left the community in deep sorrow. Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports.
The peaceful Kwara Dawanau community was thrown into confusion Thursday. Grief followed the tragic killing of 75-year-old Muhammad Dan Sokoto and his 65-year-old wife Hadiza Tasidi, allegedly by their grandson 30-year-old Mutawakilu Ibrahim. According to witnesses, what began as a minor argument over food quickly escalated into violence. Family members, still traumatized by the event, declined to speak on camera. But the Sarki Kwara Dawanau Sanusi Al-Mustafa, who first reported the case to police, described the incident as sudden and devastating. The event happened and we never expected such a thing. I returned from the burial of my brother's child when I was told. I went to the house and saw the people who had been killed. I immediately called the police. The boy was hiding but was later arrested with the help of residents. He was almost mobbed, but we managed to hand him over to the police peacefully. The victim's demise was confirmed at Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital, and they have since been buried according to Islamic rites. Police say the suspect, who is believed to have been under the influence of drugs, has been transferred to the State Criminal Investigation Department for further investigation. Certainly, the boy is a known drug user, and from what I heard, he had in the past threatened violence against members of the family, including the deceased. Police spokesperson SP Abdullahi Haruna Kiyawa adds that the suspect will be charged to court once investigations are concluded. The gruesome killing has once again drawn attention to growing menace of substance abuse and domestic violence, which remain issues that continue to tear families apart in Nigerian communities. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, the Borno State Police Command has confirmed that the death of 3 children whose lifeless bodies were recovered in a parked car belonging to Zana Jaridama was very sudden and unnatural. And 2 of the victims were the biological children of Jaridama, while the other victim was a child of his neighbor. Many conflicting reports have said that the children were abducted by yet-to-be-identified individuals after Malam Jaridama appeared on Facebook criticizing some politicians and government officials. Another report also said the children were playing inside the car which was parked inside their house and got trapped without rescue and ended up suffocating. But the police public relations officer ASP Kenneth Adaso, in a press statement on Friday, confirmed the sudden death of the children. Now, bandits struck again on Friday morning in the Edu local government area of Kwara State, attacking 2 brothers working on their farmland in Lima community. One of the victims was killed on the spot, while the other sustained severe life-threatening injuries. Now, according to reports, the attackers stormed the farmland located just a short distance from the main settlement. The latest incident highlights the deepening insecurity in the Lafiaji Emirate and across Kwara North, where farmers and residents face growing risk of attacks even near their homes. The injured survivor is currently receiving emergency medical care, while the community mourns the loss of his brothers. On Wednesday, the Kwara State Police Command confirmed that armed bandits launched coordinated attacks on Motokon and Agboro communities in Patigi local government area on Tuesday. Now, according to the State Police Command, in a statement signed by its spokesperson SP Adeotun Ajire Adeyemi, 6 residents of Motokon were abducted during the raid, while 6 others sustained gunshot injuries. Now, the Federal High Court in Abuja on Friday dismissed the no-case submission filed by the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Justice James Omotosho, in a ruling on Friday, held that the Department of State Services has made out a superficial case against Kanu. He accordingly ordered Kanu to enter his defense, as prosecution has been able to convince the court without reasonable doubt that he has case to answer in the alleged terrorism charge brought against him by the federal government. Justice Omotosho held that the evidence presented by the Department of State Services through its 5 witnesses was such that there was the need for Kanu to provide some explanations in the charge brought against him. Kanu had filed a no-case submission after the prosecution closed its case in June, insisting that he has no case to answer in the charge brought against him. Meanwhile, the court has given the Nigerian Medical Association 8 days to constitute a team of medical experts to determine the health status of Kanu. The court adjourned the matter till October 8th.
Well, the ruling is simply requires Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the defendant, to enter his defense. It's not a pronunciation of guilt or not guilty. So that is why it's called a no-case submission. So the judge made a ruling that there's a prima facie evidence that needs to be explained. So in common parlance, it calls on him to come and mount his own defense. But there is the other aspect of the ruling that concerned extraordinary rendition. That very one is one that compounded us, because the extraordinary rendition of Nnamdi Kanu is so open and notorious. Two international institutions or two separate panels of the United Nations have made pronouncements regarding his extraordinary rendition and called for his unconditional release.
We are saying that the judge has no jurisdiction whatsoever to try Nnamdi Kanu, because that particular issue of being a victim of extraordinary rendition must be determined, and that one will be whether they will be the one that will confer jurisdiction on the court.
We are all disappointed, but God has not spoken yet. We will come back and show that the extraordinary rendition was indeed included in the submission.
Medical Association Oyo State branch has threatened to proceed on strike if the Oyo State government failed to attend to the demands of the association on or before October 2nd, 2025. The association made this known while addressing journalists at a press conference held at Enemy House, Total Garden, Ibadan. The report.
Speaking through its chairman, Happy Adedapo, the association said industrial harmony can no longer be guaranteed by its members working within the length and breadth of Oyo State if the government, as a matter of urgency, failed to address the demands. Adedapo said a 7-day warning strike will be embarked upon at the expiration of the ultimatum, while an indefinite strike would be declared if there is no positive response from the government after the warning strike.
Members of the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics of the same institution have abandoned the classroom since 28 July 2025 due to the impecunious welfare package and general breakdown of structures within the system, with the attendant paralysis of both clinical and academic activities in the institution. Let it also be known that our association has exhausted all avenues of dialogue and consultation in the interest of peace and stability within the health sector of Oyo State. But it is rather unfortunate that the government has deliberately chosen to rebuff all our patriotic gestures with indifference.
Adedapo stressed that almost 2 months that members of Association of Resident Doctors of Ladoke Akintola University Teaching Hospital, Obomosho, have embarked on an indefinite strike action, there has not been any commitments from the government.
Immediate implementation of the latest comment table for all doctors. Prompt payment of medical residency training fund to resident doctors. Immediate disbursements of accoutrement allowance. Fair and competitive wages for clinical lecturers. Implementation of the 2024 national minimum wage without delay, as done for all other workers in Oyo State.
He, however, appealed to well-meaning individuals, traditional rulers, opinion leaders, and civil society organizations to prevail on governments to avert a statewide shutdown of the health facilities.
The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASN, is considering a strike action to compel Dangote Refinery to halt its alleged anti-labor practices. The General Secretary of the association, Lumumba Okumbawa, who gave this indication on Thursday in a statement personally signed by him, disclosed that the Oil Workers Union has summoned an emergency National Executive Council meeting where all industry tools will be explored to tackle the practice. He declared that the failure of the refinery to revoke its sacking of qualified workers without provocation would force the union to respond in equal measure within the Nigerian constitution. Okubawa noted that PENGASN is deeply saddened to report the unjust termination of over 800 Nigerian workers whose dedication and service have been integral to the operations of Dangote Refinery. He submitted that instead of valuing and retaining his workforce, Dangote Refinery decided to replace qualified Nigerians with over 2,000 Indian workers, many of whom lack valid immigration documentation. And now to Adamawa State, where the State Urban Planning and Development Authority has received a donation of desktop computers, tables and chairs from the State Action on Business Enabling Reforms, SABA. The donation presented by the SABA focal person, Bello Abubakar Song, is aimed at strengthening the authority's capacity in processing documents such as rights of ownership and building permits through digital platforms. Now, speaking during the presentation, Bello Abubakar Song said the gesture is part of government support to improve service delivery, reduce bureaucratic bottlenecks, and promote e-governance in the state. Special advisor to the Adamawa State Governor on ICT and e-governance, Adamu Hamanjam, emphasized that effective urban planning requires modern tools that can enhance efficiency, transparency, and accountability.
The purpose of deploying this equipment is to commence the process of online registration for building permits, as well as the application for right-of-way deployment by operators in fiber optic infrastructure. So this equipment will go a long way in easing the processes of obtaining those permits from the board.
There's a component for capacity building, which is what we just discussed now. So the entirety of the people responsible for the application and approval flow will be trained, because what is the basis for changing something and then you have not complemented it with the capacity necessary to enable the change to become sustainable?
Now, the new Olubadan on Ibadan land, Rashidi Ladoja, has called on President Tinubu to create Ibadan State before 2027. He was speaking after receiving the staff of office from Governor Sheyi Makinde. The coronation ceremony drew the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar III, former Kano State Governor Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, former Osun State Governor Prince Olagunsoye Oyunlola, former Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi, and former Cross River State Governor Donald Duke. Earlier, the Afobaje of Ibadan land, Chief Wahid Popola, performed the traditional rites before the monarch proceeded in a grand procession to Mapo Hall for the official ceremony. Also speaking at the event, President Bola Tinubu said the economy of Nigeria has turned the corner for good following the success of the economic reforms introduced by his administration over 2 years ago. He assured Nigerians that they would soon begin to enjoy the fruits of the reforms and thanked them for their patience and support. Now, the Lagos branch of the Nigerian Bar Association is taking a firm stand following a recent incident at Afriland Towers in Board Street, Lagos Island. The association is launching a full-scale investigation after a member was reportedly involved in a tragic event at the location. The report.
The Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch is stepping in following a troubling incident at Afriland Towers, which reportedly involved one of its members. Speaking at a press conference, Lagos NBA chairman Uchenna Akingbade said a fact-finding panel has been set up to investigate the circumstances and determine if negligence played a role.
NBA, in line with our objectives, we have deemed it pertinent, NBA Lagos branch, we have deemed it pertinent to set up this independent investigative panel to look into some of these things. And the outcome of this panel will drive our advocacy for policy reform. And if we find that there are certain things that we need to escalate to certain authorities, whether criminal or civil, we will do that.
Also speaking on the investigation, panel member Nonso Azi revealed that the initiative will go beyond identifying faults. He says a key focus will be public education, promoting fire safety awareness, regular drills, and strict adherence to regulations throughout Lagos and beyond.
If at the end of the day, this panel, what we achieve is to ensure that every facility, at least starting from Lagos and across Nigeria, seeks to imbibe and to abide by fire safety protocols, to teach people on how to do fire drills, on how to keep the environment safe, on how to save people. I mean, the general consensus, subject to what our findings will show, is that lives could have been saved. that it was possible that people could have been saved. So this is why we need to ask the relevant questions, then look at the laws. And at the end of the day, like Madam Chair said, it will drive part of our work as advocates.
These and other stakeholders can send in their letters or reports to our email at info@nbalagos.org, or sending their message to our social media platform at NBA Lagos, and also direct their letters to the NBA Secretariat at the Nigerian Law School.
As the panel begins its work, the NBA says it will not only seek justice for its member, but also advocate for systematic changes to ensure similar incidents are prevented in the future.
Now, former national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, says the party is open to receiving Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso back, but only if he complies with the party's rules. Ganduje explained that APC operates strictly by its constitution and will not give special treatment to anyone returning. He said, I beg your pardon, he said the politicians who left must also face the political consequences for their earlier decisions. Reports recently suggested that Kwankwaso had reached out to APC National Chairman Professor Nentawe Yelwata about a possible defection, but Kwankwaso dismissed the claims, describing them as baseless. Now, reacting to the speculation, Ganduje said any attempt by Kwankwaso to rejoin the APC will be like licking his vomit, meaning he would have to admit past mistakes before seeking a fresh start in the party.
We will welcome them if they decide to join our party, and we will address their previous unfounded claims. The meeting we had aimed to analyze developments since the Kano state gubernatorial election and identify key focus areas for party members. We also want to express gratitude to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his development initiatives in Nigeria, particularly Kano, and for entrusting capable individuals in Kano with various positions.
Now, the federal government has urged Nigerians to embrace green tech and digital tools in order to secure the country's future. The Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, stated these at the third edition of Technology Ecosystem Dialogue organized by Young Innovators Nigeria, represented by the senior advisor to the minister, Obinna Ibirim. Olawande said there was need to support young people with the right skills, platforms and investments to shape their destiny and secure Nigerians' leadership in the global, digital and green revolution. He said the ministry recognizes the creativity of young people as nation's greatest asset, adding that the future of Nigeria will be written in digital codes, powered by renewable energy and driven by the creativity of young people. Olawande said the dialogue was a pathway for young people to move from learning to earning, from innovation to scaling, and from dreaming to doing. On his part, the Chairman House Committee on Renewable Energy, Victor Ogenes, said there was need to embrace digitalization as a cornerstone by integrating smart metering, remote monitoring, AI-driven load management, standard systems, and mobile-enabled vending systems that can reduce losses, ensure transparency, and optimize performance. Now, moving on to more stories, the intervention of Alumni Association is uplifting the lives of the children of the underserved and vulnerable in the communities to have a quality education to better their lives. Now, despite economic situation, Alumni Associations provides infrastructure, scholarships, and mentorship, which becomes a lifeline for struggling students. And the story, the old pupils of Sheikh Abubakar Gumi Local Government Area Primary School in Tudunwada, Kaduna, have been paying back to their alma mater, which improved the lives of many pupils in the schools. Let's take a look.
Established in 1940, LGEA Sheikh Gumi Model School, previously called LEA Tudunwada, which used to serve Tudunwada district, has produced pupils who later became successful and prominent in different endeavors. The school is one of the luckiest that enjoys the goodwill of its alumni association.
And we deem it fit to pay back what the school gave us. The school gave us what we wanted then, and we were able to become what we are today. So it is our responsibility to pay back. That is the essence of having an all pupils association in a school.
This hall was provided by one of the old pupils, and this project was also brought by another old pupil of the school.
We are able to build, to have ICT center, clinic, and a host of other things, provision of instructional materials and others, just to make learning smooth and effective. All we're after is let the the generation that is following us do what we even were unable to do it. Let them do better than us. Let them support education so that we can have quality education in our schools.
According to the parents, the intervention of the old pupils of Sheikh Gumi Model School helped many children of the poor to acquire qualitative education. They are making a significant impact on both pupils and teachers. The Alumni Association conduct lesson observations and evaluations to ensure quality education delivery. Additionally, they offer scholarships to deserving pupils, which has been a huge boost. Beyond the provision of reading materials, school clinic and ICT center, the Old Pupils Association assists in monitoring and evaluation of teachers.
Government alone cannot do everything. That's why there is a need for community participation in education. And All People's Association is one of the ways you can provide community service. And I want to say that the People Association here in the Sheikh Bakar have been doing so much in terms of provision of infrastructure, in terms of provision of instructional materials, and also in area of monitoring and evaluation. Teachers, they also assist. They are assisting in the provision of capacity building for teachers. You can have all the structures if teachers are not competent. It doesn't make sense. So
It is said, education for all is the responsibility of all. Therefore, the experts suggest community engagement and watchdog to protect the infrastructure provided by the government and the Old Pupils Association.
There is a need for people to come in to provide even security. Government alone cannot provide security, and the old people have been doing very well in the provision of security, community watchdog. You can put all the facilities, if the security is not there, they can be vandalized. So I want to say that they've been doing so much in the area of even provision of security, even beautifying the landscaping. Provision of even toilet facilities. This is very important.
The fence surrounding the LGEA Sheikh Gumi Model Primary School was provided by the Old Pupils Association to protect the school from vandals. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Now, the Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Binta Adamobello, has said that none of the 8 children that were recently rescued from Happy Home Orphanage in Asaba Delta State will be released to any claimant until DNA tests and other investigations were completed. Bello gave the assurance at a media briefing in Abuja on Friday. She said the clarification became necessary following misleading narratives, especially on social media, which portrayed the agency's lawful operation in June 2025 as an abduction. According to her, the rescue mission was triggered by a December 2022 petition from an organization identified as Protection Against Abduction and Missing Children, which demanded justice over widespread child abduction cases in Kano State and across Nigeria. She called on the Delta State government to investigate activities at the orphanage, citing concerns already raised by the state's Commissioner for Women Affairs. Now, workers under the umbrella of the National Union of Electricity Employee and the Senior Staff Association of Electricity and Allied Companies have called off their industrial action after the Federal Ministry of Power's intervention. The strike was suspended following an agreement which was reached on Thursday. Now, both unions had earlier this week downed tolls to draw attention to the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, in deference to welfare and operational concerns issues of its staff. Now, according to a memorandum of understanding signed by Blueprint, all the parties revealed that the unions should look at the report of the committee between October 6 and 7, 2025, with a view to commencing its implementation in the same month. Now, hair extensions and accessories have become one of Nigeria's fastest growing markets, money-making and creating jobs, from traders to saloon owners and importers to street vendors. The beauty industry contributes over $1.3 billion annually to the overall economy of the nation. Now, what started as a fashion statement has become a source of income to many people. Nweke Chiamaka reports.
Every day in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and other cities, women, men, and even teenagers use wigs, braids, extensions, and hair accessories. Some buy cheap synthetic hairs, others splurge on human hair. Many salons are packed. Street vendors sell bundles on every busy corner, while online vendors are not left out, shipping to their customers across states. Different income levels, different tastes, but the demand is everywhere.
Me, I started my own in the last 5 years. Then, by that time, people doesn't know the value of this wig. The market know they move, like now.
According to Brand Spur, in 2023, Nigerian women spent over $429 million on imported artificial hair. Also in 2023, they imported about $352 million worth of wigs and extensions made of human hair. The global human hair extension market is growing fast and has been valued at about $4.45 billion in 2023, with expectations to reach over $10 billion by 2032. From production down to retail, data indicates that the industry generated over $1.16 billion in 2023, with the average Nigerian spending at least $5.16 every year on hair care products.
I do buy hairs, I do spend money on hairs, so if you want to get one bow straightener, it's like 700k, 800k. That is, if you want to get quality. Since I get up to like 7 hairs, maybe 6 million.
Approximately 5.5. Yes.
Although the industry holds vast potential and profitability, many vendors continue to encounter significant challenges ranging from import duties to clearance duties. These challenges have emerged as key obstacles to the expansion and growth of the industry.
The challenges we have now, if the dollar is high and you convert it to naira, you will see how high the market will be.
We calculate the clearance, add to the money for the hair, this thing will go high.
There are nearly 6,500 salons in Nigeria as of May 2025, most of which are run by single owners. Beauty parlors are even more common, with over 10,000 parlors nationwide. Many of these businesses don't have websites and are mostly informal. With prices going up every day, what used to sell for cheaper now costs more, depending on size and quality. Nevertheless, many people in the industry say demand has quadrupled over the past 5 years.
We have many hair extensions. We cut this one born straight from Vietnam. Sometimes we go there. Sometimes we have like people that work in the company, like managers in the company. We send money, they will shift it for us.
Importers say most artificial hair comes from Vietnam, China, and India. Consumers, however, are willing to buy locally made hair products if they match the quality of those produced outside the country.
Oui. it literally match the quality that they produce in other countries, definitely yes.
Many of these businesses are informal with no formal registration, hence limited access to loans. Also, imported goods translates to capital flight abroad. With demand on the increase, this could stifle local innovation and discourage investment in domestic production. Chiamaka Nweke, Trust TV News.
Now, conservationists have warned that the Niger Delta is at risk of massive ecological collapse as erosion, rising sea levels and deforestation continue to devastate communities in the region. At a one-week tree planting campaign held in Calabar, organized by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, with the theme Reawakening the Practice of Tree Planting Across the Niger Delta Region, experts stressed that only native tree species could be planted if the exercise must yield results. Now, former chairman of the Cross River State Forestry Commission, Odiga, had said survival of the region depended on deliberate planting of indigenous trees that can withstand local soil and climate conditions. Odiga noted that tree planting was critical in absorbing carbon dioxide, mitigating erosion, and improving soil health. He warned that failure to act urgently would put millions of people across the Niger Delta at risk. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. More news stories when we return. Do stay with us.
For decades, we've trusted the headlines we hold in our hands. But the news isn't only on paper anymore. Daily Trust is everywhere you are, on web, mobile, and in your pockets. From breaking the headlines to full audio podcasts and documentaries, you can still read it just the way you like it, anywhere, anytime. With a growing network of digital brands, Armenia, Team Trust, Trust TV, and more. Read the e-paper with all our editions in one place, available by subscription in the Daily Trust mobile app. Stay updated with our email-based newsletter delivered straight to your inbox. It's not paper versus digital, it's Daily Trust, everywhere. Daily Trust Digital, your news, your way.
Welcome back. We move to business now. Nigeria has approved the sale of Total Energy's stake in an oil block that includes the Bunker Field to Shell PLC and Nigerian Agip Exploration, valued at $510 million. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, which is the regulator for upstream operations, signed off on a sales purchase agreement by Total Energies Exploration and Production Nigerian Limited to assign its entire 12.5% contractor interest in oil mining lease 118 to Shell Nigerian Exploration and Production Company, SNEPCO, and Nigerian Agip Exploration Limited. Now, according to a statement, the regulator said Total Energies will transfer 10% of its interest to SNEPCO at a cost of $408 million, while Agip will pay $102 million for the remaining 2.5%. The NUPRC said that according to Section 95 of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021, the Commission carried out due diligence in SNEPCO to ascertain their financial capacity and technical competence. The NUPRC further stated that Total Energies, a committed operator in Nigeria's vibrant upstream sector, had also paid the statutory application fee for the deal. The Upstream Petroleum Regulatory noted that SNEPCO and NAE will bear the decommissioning and abandonment liabilities owned by Total Energies to the federal government of Nigeria with respect to the divested interest. Now, away from Nigeria, authorities in 14 African countries have arrested 260 people in a major crackdown on cybercrime targeting romance scams and sextortion. The two-week operation organized by Interpol, dubbed Operation Contender 3.0, was implemented between July 28 and August 11, 2025. Now, police seized more than 1,200 electronic devices, shut down 81 online crime infrastructures, and identified nearly 1,500 victims across the continent. Estimated losses linked to the scams was $2.8 million. The suspects are accused of exploiting social media and dating platforms to defraud victims. Romance scams involved fake profiles and stolen images, while sextortion cases saw victims blackmailed with explicit videos or photos. Ghana recorded the highest number of arrests, with 68 suspects detained and $70,000 in stolen funds recovered. Now for sports updates, let's join Adeni Ajishafe.
A total of 120 Scrabble players are in Lagos to compete for the 5.5 million naira total prize money to be won at the 2025 Lekki Scrabble Classics this weekend as players battle across 18 games. Defending champion Charles Ashimensin of Ghana will aim to navigate through the world firepower of other top contenders in the Premier Division for another showpiece on the peninsula. The Ghanaian shocked the famed Nigerian Scrabble community to win the grand prize of 1 million naira in 2024, hoping to repeat the feat as Ghana prepares to host the World English Language Scrabble Players Association Championship, West Park, in November 2025. Tournament top-ranked star and BIST title holder Adamawa Jimo will be leading other Nigerian players like Samuel Adebola, John Ayedu, Old Warhol Chinedu Torp, East champion Emmanuel Mujose, and former African youth champion David Orji to reclaim their lost opportunities at the annual tournament. Other top players aiming to snag the revert title include former African champion Moses Peter, Scrabble in the Jungle King Tega Okemoti and Adeyemi Adeosun, Africa's World Youth Best Aliu Abdul, Sophia Ekeruche, Prestige Archibong, and Joy Nwabuzo are also in with some shouts in the lineup. Players from Ghana, Uganda, United States of America, Ireland, and United Kingdom will also be participating. Participants with ratings from 1,300 to 2,000 will compete in the Premier class, while those with ratings from 0 level to 1,299 will chase for success in the championship division. Meanwhile, incoming Nigerian Scrabble Federation NSF Technical Director Khalid Adedeji will adjudicate the Lekki Scrabble Classics 2025. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
That we've come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do well to follow us on all of our social media platforms and join our YouTube channel to stay informed. I'm Mimana Bagudu. Have a great night and good evening. Bye-bye.